Transport management, I think I touched upon this a bit, but I'll just go through it once again. So, transport
Mhm.
systems control movement of changes between environments. So, uh, we call it change requests. Okay. Any,
Mhm.
any, I mean, a change request is basically you are changing something in the prod environment. It could be your, I mean, everything is code, right? Any application, any software it runs, the background is hard coding, right?
Mm.
So whenever you are changing anything in the code, it goes through a series of change requests, and that's what transport management is all about.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
So whenever going ahead, uh, I will talk in terms of change. Transport is nothing but change management. Okay.
Mhm.
So key transactions, I've just noted down them here. SEO 9 and SE 10. These are basically T codes. When you run them in SAP, it should give you some list of change requests as per the filters you have put in. So
Mhm.
these are the T codes and ensures proper approval before moving changes to production. This is very important. I mean, uh, change management is a control that is applicable to all ERP systems.
Mm.
You cannot skip this, and not even ERP. It is applicable everywhere. I mean, SOC 1, SOC 2, PCI, whichever standard you will look at, uh, a change management uh, is a very valid control objective that should be there in any report as part of
Mhm.
any audit. Even if you are doing internal compliance, working on SAP, doesn't matter. Change management is going to be there. Okay.
Mhm.
So you
Mhm.
understand the gravity of that change management role. So there are four. I'll walk you through. I mean, that's what we are going to cover in SAP GRC in very detail. Which
Mm.
are the four major domains that we look at while performing any SAP GRC function, either
Mm.
internally or as an external auditor. Uh, we are going to look at them in very much detail, but since we have had quite a couple of sessions till then, if you
Mm.
remember, I have always talked about access, right?
Mhm.
Access management. Uh,
Yes, you
can you,
mentioned it times.
yeah, uh, can you recall one or two controls related to access management?
Okay.
See, compliance is all about controls. Okay. If you remember when we discussed in our very first session GRC, right?
Mhm.
G was for the tone at the top. What's the management is deciding? How are we going to go ahead? What's the business objective? What
Mhm.
policies, etc. we need? R was for risk. We covered risk in much detail, right?
Mhm.
And then basis the risk, we deep dive into compliance where we implement policies, implement new controls to make sure that both G and R are covered using the C. So that's what compliance is. So let's say if I'm talking about access management, uh, can you name a few controls that we have discussed? And I'm pretty sure we have discussed at least three, four.
Mm. I know RBAC is one of them, and segregation of duties.
Uh, okay, so in terms of SAP, if you are talking about SAP GRC, segregation of duties come under change management.
Oh, okay.
Okay, segregation of duties doesn't come under, like I was saying in SAP, and I think in general, segregation of duties come under change management.
Mm.
But RBAC was a good example. Uh,
Mm.
any other? I have given one example very frequently. Try recollecting related to access.
User provisioning and deprovisioning.
Right. So that's one of the main controls for access management.
Mhm.
Okay. So let's
Mhm.
say if someone asks you that we'll cover this in much detail. in the upcoming sessions.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say if someone asks you that what are the major controls in access management, so you always start with access provisioning and deprovisioning. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
After that, you tell them RBAC, privilege access, password configurations, MFA, etc., etc., etc. But you always start with uh, uh, access management, sorry, access provisioning and deprovisioning. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. Uh, Similarly, we have three other criterias in SAP GRC. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
One is access management. The other three are change management, um, IT operations, and system development. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'll come to that in detail, but right now I'm just pointing it out because we will be using this reference, and this is essentially our SOX audit. Have you heard the term SOX before?
No.
Okay, so uh, if you remember in my course plan as well, I did share I mean, my module 6 was entirely about detailed overview of the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, SOX. Okay.
Okay.
I will cover that in very detail. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but first, I want you to, so whenever I say SOX,
Mm.
it's Sarbanes-Oxley Act. Okay.
Okay.
I'll try to make you understand the entire concept, and it is very essential. I mean, if you want to get into GRC,
Mm.
the first three modules that we covered, which was
Mm.
essentially what GRC is.
Mm.
Second was regarding risk management. Third was regarding SOC 1, SOC 2.
Mm-hmm.
Sarbanes-Oxley, I would say, surpasses each of these. Okay, it is the most important framework in GRC that you know. If you know, you are employable anywhere in the US. You just search, I mean, go to LinkedIn and search IT SOX auditor in jobs. You'll see how many jobs are there right now. Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
what I'll teach you, if you are able to grasp that clearly, even 50-60%, I think you are ready for an entry level position. So be very attentive whenever I'm covering SOX audit.
Mm.
Okay, and it's bit technical.
Mm. So far, my major ones are the SOC reports and SOX audit.
And
Because you
risk
did say,
management.
yeah, because you did say a similar thing about about the SOC reports.
Right. So SOC 1, SOC 2 is something that almost every product company and all does.
Mm.
But SOX, SOX, okay,
Mm.
SOX is of higher importance because
Mm.
this is financial reporting. SOC
Mm.
1, SOC 2, if you remember, SOC 1 is for financial reporting, but it's not that compliance heavy. SOC 2, if you remember, I always said that it revolves around those five trust criteria: security, availability. So it basically tells an organization's security posture. But
Mm.
Sarbanes-Oxley Act, it is an act in the US. Just search about it, read about it before we come to our next session.
Okay.
Sarbanes-Oxley Act is a very important financial reporting act. Okay, so any company that is listed in the US has to follow Sarbanes-Oxley by default.
Mm.
Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
for Sarbanes-Oxley, you need IT auditors as well. So I have been, I mean, my 3 years at KPMG, I was doing SOX audit for US clients. So that's
Mm.
how important it is. And uh, if you understand SOC 1, SOC 2, risk, and SOX, Sarbanes-Oxley, you are highly employable in the US. I know that. Okay.
Okay. So each and every company ever uses SOX, the SOX Act.
Any company that is listed on NASDAQ, S&P, etc. You know
Mm.
NASDAQ, S&P, right?
I've heard hashtag.
Okay, so any company that is listed in the US, you understand the term listed, right? Any public company
Mm-hmm.
in which you can buy shares,
Mm-hmm.
that's a listed company.
Mm-hmm.
So any company that is listed will go through a SOX audit for sure. I mean, there's no exception to that. No one can say whether it's Tesla, Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft, you name any company, Cisco, any company, okay? They cannot tell the US government that, hey, we won't do a Sarbanes-Oxley audit this year. It's just not possible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Make sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
Okay.
All right. Mm.
Yeah. If you look at the fourth point, auditors review transport logs for unauthorized changes. So whenever we are, so let's say if someone talks to you, we are going to deep dive in detail, like I mentioned, but let's say if someone asks you that, hey, what do we see? What are the controls in change management? So first thing comes that changes should be approved
Mm-hmm.
at all environments. In dev, when it's in dev, someone should approve so that it goes to QA. In QA, someone should approve, then only it can go to production. Make
Mm-hmm.
sense?
Yes.
Okay, we'll move ahead. So, key SAP modules, financial accounting, materials management, sales and distribution, production planning, and human resources. So these are uh, some SAP modules that you'll see. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in a company that is heavily dependent on SAP for their ERP, they would have, and these modules are something that you can create. I mean, you cannot change the name, but let's say if you don't want human resources, you don't create this particular module in SAP.
Mm.
Okay, you
Okay.
create these four, but these are majorly the very common SAP modules that are there.
Okay.
Okay, should I move ahead?
Mm-hmm. Do you
Okay.
work in any specific one of them? I don't know if this is gonna make sense.
You as a GRC professional, you don't work in any of these.
Okay.
Okay. Your job is to make sure that all these different modules are compliant as per your SOX requirements.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know it's bit heavy on the content because you're trying to imagine things and understanding, but just bear with me for another session. I think you'll have better clarity.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what is the importance of these modules? Just read it here. So, financial accounting module records all financial transactions. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Why are we I mean, what is this SAP? It's a ERP system, right?
Yes.
And if you remember, I mentioned this, I think, in my very first slide that ERP system, everything it integrates finance, procurement. I mean, any financial data you can find on the ERP system, correct?
Yes, correct.
So looking at all these modules that are there in an ERP system, these are all related to your financial data,
Mm.
correct?
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Yes.
Materials management. I think you won't understand this term right now, but a company that is heavy on inventory, for them, inventory management, material management, and let's say companies that are even providing services to some other companies, they also do materials management. Sales
Mm-hmm.
distribution, quite self-explanatory. Production planning, how much are you going to product? uh, uh, which product are you going to produce, how much are you going to produce, all these, and then human resources, how many employees you'll have, what should be the salary for them, etc., etc. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so now try to relate all these. For example, financial accounting module records all financial transactions, your revenue, your sales, etc., etc. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
materials management and sales and distribution SD feed accounting entries into your financial accounting. Make
Mm-hmm.
sense?
Yes.
Financial statements generated from SAP must be reliable. This is what we are doing, right? When
Mm.
we tell someone in, if you remember in our very first discussions, I told you that um, if you look at any financial report, there would be a section for the IT audit as well, right? It's a public report
Yes.
for all
Yes.
listed companies. So, how is someone like you and me, let's say if tomorrow I give you a financial report uh, or an audited financial report of Tesla, it should be reliable, right? You would look at company's growth, revenue, debt, etc., etc., and then you would kind of know whether this company is doing good or not, whether you should invest money in this company or not,
Mm.
etc., etc., right?
Yes.
Whether this company is near to bankruptcy or what. So you are relying on that financial statement itself to make all these judgments, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you understand how much important this financial statement or this financial report becomes.
Mm-hmm.
Now you would invest, for example, $1,000, $10,000, maybe $100,000 someday, but you know how the Wall Street is, right? People are
Yeah.
investing in millions and in billions every day. People are trading in billions every day. So you imagine if the report is not reliable,
Mm.
can you put your money into Tesla or any company for that matter? Would you put your money in Apple if you don't know the financials of Apple, if it is not
Mm.
public?
No.
You you won't, right?
Yeah.
So that's why SOX audit becomes very important. Now you understanding the grit of what exactly SOX is?
Yes, I get it. I get the importance from what you're explaining.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, so just read through it. This makes SAP access controls critical for SOX compliance. And I would say not only access, all the other three domains that I mentioned as well. Okay.
Mm. Yes.
I would rather edit this to SAP controls critical for SOX compliance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Moving ahead. So, what is the SAP authorization concept? Okay. So
Mm.
this is basically understanding how SAP grants permission. Okay,
Yes.
a user is individual account. Role is basically a bucket of permission uh, where you are, let's say, assigning a particular role to 100 users. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
authorization object. So it defines the action. What can you do? Okay, so this people call this the DNA of SAP security because this defines the action using your authorization object. Someone can look at whether what exactly what action does it define, and then authorization fields. So uh, these are basically the filters. For example, a user might have object to create. I mean, the object, like I mentioned, is what action you can do. So object to create a purchase request, but the field is something that limits them to only doing it for company code. Uh, I know it's getting bit technical, but in SAP there are different company codes. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
for example, name a company, any company in the US.
Apple.
Okay, so Apple also has an office in India. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
assuming that Apple uses SAP, which they don't, I know.
Mm.
Um, so assuming they use SAP, uh, for all their accounting. Now you understand, I'm telling you, now I'm talking finance to you, okay? Forget about
Mm-hmm.
security for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
They need to understand how much revenue are they generating in the US, how much revenue are they generating in Europe, how much revenue are they generating in India. Correct? Someone is doing that analysis.
Mm.
Basis that they decide whether they should expand more in a certain geography, or they should pull back from a certain geography, right? Let's say if iPhones are not getting sold in China, why would they even take the burden of shipping iPhones to China, setting up an office there, setting up distribution centers, etc., etc.? You
Mm.
won't, right?
Yeah.
You'll someone would review that particular report that hey, sales are declining in China, people are not buying iPhones anymore. Let's say in India as well, people are not buying iPhone, they are buying maybe Samsung or something. But so why should we even bother sending 5 lakhs of iPhones to India? Let's just send 10,000 of them and probably those 10,000 would sell there. Correct?
Yes.
So, I mean, I've deviated from the topic, but what
Mm.
Apple would do to understand how much revenue or, I mean, entire financial data from India's geography, what they would do is they would create a company code separate for India. So, for example, US company code in SAP, and this I'm talking about in SAP, okay,
Mm-hmm.
nothing beyond SAP. So, in
Mm.
SAP, they would create a company code, let's say called 1000 11000 for
Mm.
US. They would create another company code called 2000 for India. They would
Mm.
create another company code called 3000 for China. They would create another company code 4000 for Europe.
Mm.
Okay, makes sense
Mhm.
with
Mm-hmm.
me till here.
Yes. Okay.
So what this authorization field does is, let's say if I have assigned Vanessa who is sitting in US a role that she can create purchase orders. Okay,
Mm.
okay. I
Okay.
will, using this authorization field, I will put a limit on Vanessa that she can only work with company code 1000, which is for the Apple's US branch. She cannot she cannot post a purchase order for India. Someone else might be doing that who is sitting in India. Not
Mm.
someone who is sitting in the US can push a purchase order sitting in the US, and you got my point, right?
Yes, I get it.
Yeah, so this is what authorization field is for.
Mm.
Okay, I'll ask this to you tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah. Now just read through it once again
Okay.
and just repeat. I mean, help me understand what exactly are these in very vague terms, whatever you understood.
Okay.
Whenever you are ready.
Mm-hmm. So each user has their own like individual login account. And then depending on that login account, there's a role, which is a collection of permissions that they have. And then for authorization objects, it defines the allowed actions that they're allowed to perform depending on the collection of permissions that their role has. And with authorization fields, it varies from country to country. Like each country will have a company code within SAP. And then if I want to assign a role to someone, I narrow it down using that company code.
Yeah, but I mean, the company code example that I gave is just one example out of all. I'm saying
Mm-hmm.
that if you want to limit anything, limit access by company code or by activity, you need to put limits in the authorization field.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Moving ahead. Yeah, landscapes we already discussed. Dev, QA, prod. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is a repetition. So yeah, this is the SAP role authorization concept. It goes from first you create a user, you assign a role, you assign an object, and then you limit the fields. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Roles contain transaction codes and permissions. Controls access to business processes.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Moving ahead. So this is basically, I mean, again, we are just covering the basics here. entire SAP GRC is suited for uh, basically governance, risk, and compliance. These modules we are going to discuss next. These are access request management, access request analysis, emergency change, etc., etc., and used for SOD and access management. I'll cover that in detail next. So,
Mm-hmm.
first we look at ARA, which is access risk analysis. Uh, So I'll try to make you understand all these in detail. But
Mm-hmm.
uh, so let's say instead of manually checking thousands of users in Excel, GRC uses four key modules to automate the work. Okay. So out of those four, the first one is access risk analysis, which is ARA. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, this means finding the risks. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
ARA identifies segregation of duties conflicts, analyzes users' roles profiles against rules, provides risk reports used by auditors.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, this is something that you enable in SAP. Okay, this
Mm-hmm.
is this is a feature that is already available in SAP that, let's say, if you want segregation of duties to be to not be a conflict in your business, you just run a report in SAP which will analyze the users in two groups, their roles and their profiles against the rules, and then it will provide you a report that, hey, maybe you need to remove Vanessa from I mean, she has access to both these environments. If you remember when we talked about change management, I told you that a developer shouldn't have access to production.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, so that's segregation of duty. Let's say if Vanessa is a developer, I'll make sure that she does not have access, her account is not there in the production environment.
Mm.
Understood?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is there ever an
So,
instance where like they will appoint someone to access two segments? Like
are
the hmm?
you referring to that there could be exceptions to that?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Certain times there are exceptions to that. I mean, someone who is at a very higher level, a senior manager or a manager or a VP, sometimes they do get access. They have access to both development and prod environments,
Mm.
but there should be a very uh, comprehensive business justification for that.
Mm.
Without a business justification, no one is going to uh, provide them access.
Mm. Okay.
Understood?
Yes, okay.
Yeah. Any questions on this one?
No.
Okay. Just remember this as risk analysis. If you remember, when we talked about risk management, it was mostly about finding what is the risk, identifying the risk, right?
Yes, it
So,
was.
yeah. So that's how you can use this particular module in SAP.
Mm.
Okay.
So if an auditor comes by, the ARA team will provide the risk reports to them.
It's not a team, generally, what I have seen. Uh,
Mm.
what the auditor will tell them that, hey, this is the SAP instance that's in scope for the audit. I
Mm.
want a list of all developers in this instance, and I want a list of all the users who have access to production. So now
Mm-hmm.
what you will do, whether you are, let's say you are working as a internal SAP GRC analyst in some company, what you will do is you will pull out a list using ARA, Access Risk Analysis.
Mm.
Okay. Uh, to be honest, not all companies have configured this. You'll need to do this manually. This is something that SAP charges extra because
Mm.
this is a feature they are giving to solve your problems. But again, uh, it's very easy to run and fetch the users in SAP. Okay.
Mm.
So what I have generally seen is that people don't pay extra for that because it's I mean anything automated or AI is very costly these days. What what they generally do is they pull out the list manually. They pull out the list of developers from the environment. They pull out the list of production users in the environment, and then they put them in an Excel sheet and compare these two sheets
Mm-hmm.
to identify if there's a common user. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Understood?
Yes, I get it. Thank you.
Okay. Now coming to access request management. So basically this is fixing the access via workflows. What it means is uh, we are doing uh, what this does is where was I? Yeah, access request management. So basically, it builds a workflow based on access provisioning. So let's say when we discussed that, uh, let's say if Vanessa wants access to something, her manager should approve that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have written this as a policy, but when you want to implement this as a function in your system, you would use access request management in SAP. Okay.
Okay. Yes.
So the MSMP here, it stands for multi-stage, multi-path.
Mm.
Okay. So it could be different stages. I mean, if the workflow, it is the workflow engine which is used primarily to control how access is approved and provisioned. So multi-stage is, I mean, how many stages of you need of approval do you need? Multi-path is like if one approver is not there, is could there be another approver? So that's how you build a workflow. Okay.
Yes.
So I mean, I'm just deep diving into MSMP a bit. So it automates the life cycle of an access request. Okay, moving it from initial request, whatever necessary approvals that you need, to final provisioning. So you can automate all of this. Let's say if tomorrow someone in your if you have created a workflow in access risk management, and tomorrow I join your organization, you have created a workflow in such a way that I raise the request, and if my manager approves that request, my access would be, I mean, till final provisioning, whatever else is required, allocating me the resources, etc., all would be done automatically.
Mm-hmm.
Make
Yes, that makes
sense?
sense. Thank you.
Okay. Uh, okay. Moving
Wait, what are
ahead.
the numbers for 547?
Ah, these are just my slide numbering, so you
Okay.
can ignore that. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh, yeah. So now coming to business role management. So this is basically where you design clear roles. Okay. If you remember, we talked about role here, collection of permissions, right?
Yes.
In SAP authorization, uh, if you are creating a particular user, you would need to assign a role to him or her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What do you understand? Because you gave me an example of RBAC. What's the full form of RBAC?
Sorry?
When I asked you that give me top two controls for access management,
Mm.
you mentioned RBAC as one, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What's the full form of RBAC?
It's role-based access management.
Access control. Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. Yes.
what
Yes.
what does it mean? I mean, by the name of it.
It gives you access to certain systems based on your role.
Correct. So self-explanatory, right? Whenever you are creating a user, if you have joined a company, you are there for a purpose, right? You are just not there that your account is created like Instagram and whether you open it or not doesn't matter. You
Mm.
have to access something. You are assigned a job, right?
Mm.
There's something that's dependent on you. For that, a role needs to be assigned to you.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is what, how do you assign that particular role? Through business role management.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So to be honest, no one is going to ask you these regarding your SAP GRC interviews or anything. This is
Mm,
just for your understanding, building a background that, let's say if tomorrow someone does ask, uh, you can at least give them a logic that why a user is created, why do we assign roles, etc., etc., and how do we assign roles.
mm,
Okay, so it's centralized role design, role lifecycle management reduces access complexity. Makes sense?
mm,
For example, if you hired 10 new people in your team at once, you can just create 10 new accounts and assign one role to all of them. It will make your life easier.
mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yes.
should I move ahead? Any
Yes.
questions?
No.
Okay,
Oh,
now
wait. This is just general, but let's say for BRM, if the business role management was my job, what would be my job title? Or is this like done by machine?
to be honest, these are very small. I mean, these are all just a one click away kind of configurations. You just
Mm.
need to
Oh.
enter the role and it will suggest you 100. Let's say, for example, I put in a role as compliance analyst and it will just populate there and assign you that role. There's no specific person required for this. So whenever you are raising a request in SAP,
Mm.
probably somewhere in the description, I mean, different companies use different methods. Maybe in the form or in the mail, you where when you are raising the request, you mention that, hey, I need access to this compliance analyst or this
Mm.
GRC analyst role, and
Yes.
that's what you will get. Okay, there's
Yes.
no separate person or separate team for that. This is all automated.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, I get it. Thank
uh, yeah. Moving ahead is emergency access management. So this is where our concept of firefighter IDs come into picture.
you. Mm-hmm.
Um, there are times in any company that sometimes you need to push emergency changes.
Mm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
by the name of it, can you understand? I mean, what's your understanding of emergency changes? What could be it?
Of what the emergency could be?
Sorry.
Wait, my understanding of what the emergency could be?
Yeah, I mean, why would someone need an emergency access?
Um,
Just think of it. Why would you need an emergency access anytime you have raised one? Or just think of a few scenarios.
I mean, generally, I would need an emergency access if there's no time to waste.
Hmm.
So I'm guessing maybe in this scenario, they need an emergency access management if, let's say, the person is not there, or like,
You are almost there.
yeah, oh, please continue.
Okay, no worries. But yeah, you were almost on point. Uh, so yeah, as you mentioned, some emergency access or emergencies whenever you don't have time or you don't have the right person to do it, then someone else is doing that. And again, in absence of time, right? If you have
Mm,
time, you can always wait for anything, but if you don't, then only you raise an emergency request,
mm,
emergency access, etc. So
mm.
in SAP, whenever someone is assigned an emergency access, it's called a firefighter ID. Okay.
Okay. Mm,
If let's say Vanessa raised an emergency access request to some system, it would be called as that, hey, this is your firefighter ID. Okay,
okay.
you use login that. I mean, use this as your login. And uh, these firefighter IDs have an expiry period as well
Mm,
because this is emergency, right? This is not something that you would need every day, correct?
mm-hmm.
So what I have seen is most organizations, what they do is they define these emergency IDs, these firefighter IDs to restrict the access for, let's say, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, or maximum for a day. That's it. I mean, if you need more than a day's access, because you are doing it as an emergency, right? It's not
Yeah.
something that you need daily. If you need it daily, then get the role approved, correct?
Yeah.
If something is there that you need to do every day, why do you need emergency? You just have get the role approved for you. But since this is an emergency firefighter ID, you would be assigned the role, but with an expiration.
Mm.
And that expiration could be as per the company's policy or whatever they decide.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Yes. So after these firefighter IDs have expired, do they automatically get deleted from the system, or like does someone have to
You,
go?
I mean, uh, so generally, whenever you are assigned a firefighter ID, you would be assigned a login credential as well with that. Okay, that
Mm,
use this particular login credential along with your firefighter ID to log
mm,
into a particular system.
mm-hmm.
And that credential is valid itself for, let's say, 4 hours. So after 4 hours, when you will put that credential, it will say that this is not valid anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Answers your question?
Yes, that makes sense. Thank you.
Okay. Uh, if you look at the second point, because this is very important, something that's, uh, I mean, emergency, in the name of emergency, anyone can request access and do anything. I mean, you can get elevated access as well, right? For
Mm-hmm.
example, uh, you tell, you raise a request for emergency access, saying
Mm-hmm.
that, hey, I need emergency access for this and that. I mean, something important. Your manager is on leave. No one knows what you are doing. So you might, because your manager is on leave, he or she would best know what you do and why you need the emergency access. But since they are on leave, no one else in the company is aware of what Vanessa is doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
that's where bullet point two comes into picture,
Mm,
is that the logs are monitored and reviewed. So any firefighter ID,
mm-hmm.
okay, be it
Okay.
any firefighter ID, first thing is that the expiration is there. And the second thing is that the logs are monitored and reviewed. So let's say if after 10 days your manager comes, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and someone tells him or her that, hey, uh, your reportee Vanessa, she requested for a firefighter ID some 7 days back. I don't know what she did, but maybe you can have a look. He will just go into the log management system. He would look at all your logs of what you did in that particular environment. So I mean, that's someone, because it is getting recorded, it is being monitored, and then your manager reviewed it. He can
Mm-hmm.
look at whether you did the right thing or not, or you abused the firefighter ID.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Yes.
How is it? I mean, what's the risk here?
In terms of
In terms of you getting an elevated access, what could be the risk?
the risk, I think could be advantage.
Hmm.
Because, like, if let's say you're somebody who's unethical, you might take it as an opportunity to do other things that you're not assigned to.
Yeah, that's one case. For example, because you are getting assigned a role, right? For example, your role is to clear checks in a bank.
Mm,
But since you are a new hire, you can only clear bank checks amounting to, let's say, $500,000.
mm,
Okay. But you are not allowed to approve a 5 million bank deposit or a check.
mm.
Okay. But
Okay.
Since the person who approves the 5 million checks, he is not there for, he has gone on a vacation, and a
Mm-hmm.
customer comes, he tells you that, hey, I need my 5 millions right now in cash. Please process this check. You
Mm,
raised an elevated access in SAP that, and what could go wrong, I'm telling about. So you are not authorized for that, first of all.
mm,
Okay. You will
yes.
get the firefighter ID if the customer is genuine. But let's say that customer is your friend or something, and he is also not allowed to withdraw or something, but you kind of approve that getting an elevated access because someone else was doing it, he's on leave. Now you are responsible for it. You did something unethical, which brings back to your point as well that, yeah, anything unethical can be done using a role that is not already assigned to you, right?
Mm,
A role that is already assigned to you is something that everyone knows about, that, hey, this is what Vanessa does. But when it comes to you are requesting an elevated access, there could be chances that this is not something Vanessa does on a regular basis. She can do anything with it. We are not sure. That's why logs are required.
mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you see, it's a key SOX control as well, because this gives you privileged access for some time.
Okay, okay, okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions?
So when you say key SOX control, so when we learn about the SOX Act, this is one of the key elements.
Yeah, we'll cover this control.
Okay.
Although I covered whatever that was there for this control already, we'll
Mm-hmm.
cover it once again. But yeah, this is
Mm,
what it is.
mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, segregation of duties. I think I've already spoken about this a lot,
Yeah,
but
we have.
uh, just to revise, prevents fraud via conflicting access. Example, create vendor plus pay vendor. You
Mm,
can create Harsh as a vendor in your company, and you can
mm,
pay me $1,000. Thank you for that.
mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
not a single person. I mean, one person shouldn't be responsible for both these activities. It should either be Vanessa who would be creating the one vendors and Harsh who should be paying the vendors, or vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
Okay. So SOD is a very important control in SAP. Uh, I hope you understood with my examples from developers and production, etc., and this one as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, segregation of duties is something that um, sometimes we also have in our homes that, hey, if you cook, I'll clean the dishes. If I do the dishes, you clean. It's not like one person is responsible for everything, right?
Mm,
Okay. Now, what's the audit relevance of SAP? Because if you are working as a GRC analyst in SAP, you will be subjected to audits. If you are working in a CPA firm, certified public accountants, you would be doing external audits on SAP systems. If you are working in a company as a GRC analyst which uses SAP, then you would be subject to different audits from external auditors, and you would have to defend yourself, uh, making sure that compliance and the controls are working right. Do you
mm.
get this logic? Do you
Yes, I.
understand this logic? Okay. So because SAP is an ERP system, it supports financial reporting. Controls map to ICFR. So
Mm.
what is ICFR? Do you remember? We discussed this during the SOC 1 session.
No, I don't remember.
Okay. So ICFR is internal controls over financial reporting.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay.
in SAP, you will have your internal controls regarding financial reporting. Okay,
Okay.
and used heavily in SOX audits. So
Mm-hmm.
because SAP is a financial system, and like I mentioned, SOX audit is for financial reporting itself.
Mm,
Now you can relate the two, right? If
mm-hmm.
SAP is storing all financial data and all companies who need to do their financial audit for the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, you have no escape, right? You have to go through this audit.
Mm. So is there any connection between SOX audits and SOC 1 reports?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
So yeah. So if you remember the CUECs we talked about, complementary user entity controls.
Mm-hmm.
So when an auditor comes for a SOX audit, okay,
Mm.
Sarbanes-Oxley audit, he would also ask, let's say you tell them that, hey, my my payroll, okay,
Mm.
which is which is a key SAP module, human resources, right? Human
Yes.
resources is for payroll, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You tell the SOX auditor who has come for your audit, you tell them that my human resource, my payroll is managed by a company called Apple. We are not doing it. Okay.
Mm.
Then what the auditor will tell you that show me Apple SOC 1 report because you are relying on the financial reporting of Apple
Mm.
which is impacting your company. So show me Apple SOC 1 report.
Mm.
Okay.
Yes.
When you will show Apple's SOC 1 report to your external auditor, they would look at the complementary user entity controls. Okay.
Mm.
If Apple is managing your payroll, okay,
Yes. Okay.
let's imagine you are Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
Your payroll is managed by Apple. So in Apple SOC 1 report, the complementary user entity controls are for whom? Answer this.
If Apple is what?
In Apple SOC 1 report,
Mm.
there would be a section for complementary user entity controls.
Mm.
Who is the user entity in this scenario?
Apple.
How?
Apple is using the service, wants to store its data using the service organization service.
Apple is not using the service. You are using Apple services, right?
Oh, okay, okay, okay. So
You
I would
are you
manage,
have given your payroll data to Apple, right? You are
yes,
using Apple services. So who becomes the user entity here?
I become the user entity in this case.
Yes, you become the user entity. So in
Mm-hmm.
that case, the complementary user entity controls that I showed you that day, whom would
Mm.
it be applicable to?
Me.
Right. So the SOX auditor would look at those controls, whether you have implemented them or not.
Okay.
That's how you relate a SOC 1 and a SOX report.
Okay, okay, okay.
Very important question for your interviews. Very
Oh,
important. I mean, if you can explain this to someone, how a
mm-hmm.
SOC 1 report is leveraged during a SOX audit, you are
Mm.
selected.
Okay.
Okay, so get this concept right. I'll ask you in next couple of sessions about this.
Okay.
Okay, coming to the last slide. So workflow concept is basically you request something, you get the approval. So this is for access provisioning. I think
Mm.
this slide should have been somewhere up. It has come down, but uh, nevertheless, whenever you raise a request, there should be an approval and then there should be provisioning. If you remember, I told you that ARM, Access Request Management, is where you build these workflows. So
Mm.
that's why it has mentioned controlled via ARM. And
Mm.
audit trail is always maintained where you have logs. Audit trail is nothing but logs that when SR requested this role's request on Friday 5 p.m. approval was on Monday, next Monday, 10 a.m., and then provisioning was done on Monday, 12 p.m. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so that's what audit trail is.